Today we're diving into one of the most talked about meme coins in crypto, Shibainu, currently trading around $0.000005, and we're not just talking price in passing. We're digging deep into where SHIB could realistically be by 2026. This isn't a quick guess, a hype-filled projection, or a moonshot dream. We're going to look at the market context, sentiment cycles, ecosystem developments, supply dynamics, and the psychology that drives meme tokens, all to form a grounded price expectation for SHIB in a couple of years. At $0.000005, Shiba Inu doesn't look like much on the surface. It's been here before. It's been higher, it's been lower, and it's seen big volatility swings that laser-focused traders remember well. But what truly matters is not where SHIB is now, but the forces that will shape its price in the next market cycle, especially as we approach 2026. Meme coins don't live in a vacuum. They live in a crowd psychology ecosystem where narrative, liquidity, and participation cycles influence price more than fundamentals, at least in the short term. That means if SHIB gets attention at the right time, when crypto markets are flowing with liquidity and traders are hungry for high beta assets, it can outperform expectations. But narrative can just as easily fade, and when that happens prices grind sideways or drop. Right now SHIB sits at a point where sentiment is cautious but not bearish. Broader markets, led by major assets like Bitcoin and Ethereum, influence altcoins heavily. When Bitcoin shows strength and confidence returns to risk assets, traders rotate capital down the market cap spectrum, first to large outs, then to smaller outs, and finally meme-tier coins like SHIB. This rotation has to be healthy, supported by volume, and driven by real demand, or short-term rallies fizzle out quickly. The fact that SHIB is still widely traded, widely discussed on social platforms, and maintains strong liquidity means it's still poised for cyclical moves when momentum returns. But let's break down 2026 more concretely, starting with the conditions that would make a meaningful price move possible. For SHIB to appreciate significantly by 2026, we need to consider three interlinked layers: market structure, token dynamics, and narrative momentum. On the market level, crypto historically moves in multi-year cycles. Bitcoin typically leads, and when Bitcoin rallies hard, money tends to flow into the broader market. That's followed by altcoin surges. We saw this pattern clearly in previous cycles where percentage gains often increase as you go down the market cap ladder, meaning smaller tokens can deliver outsized moves. If Bitcoin and Ethereum lead another strong bull cycle approaching 2025 to 2026, SHIB stands to benefit from liquidity flowing toward high beta assets. But this isn't guaranteed. Markets could remain range-bound or risk appetite could weaken if macro conditions tighten globally. In that scenario, SHIB's price might not rise aggressively and could remain near its current range for longer. Token dynamics matter too. Unlike some meme coins that have no utility, SHIB has steadily developed ecosystem components such as decentralized exchanges, NFTs, staking mechanisms, and community-driven initiatives. While none of these guarantee price increases, they do help sustain engagement and provide reasons for market participants to hold or trade SHIB beyond pure speculation. More utility can help stabilize support levels, which, in turn, gives price more room to move when momentum returns. Now, when we think about narrative momentum, this is where things can get psychologically powerful. Meme coins live on social attention. TikTok trends, viral tweets, influencer endorsements, exchange listings, and community events can ignite fresh waves of buying interest. If SHIB re-enters the spotlight at a time when traders are flush with liquidity and chasing growth, there's potential for a strong rally. So what does this mean in terms of realistic 2026 price ranges? Let's walk through possible scenarios with grounded context. In a moderate bull market, where Bitcoin and Ethereum trend upward steadily but without extreme euphoric rallies, SHIB could move beyond its current trading range and test high resistance levels. In this scenario, a move into the mid-$0.00000x range, perhaps around $0.00001 to $0.0000015, is plausible. That would represent a meaningful appreciation from $0.0000005. Driven by improved market sentiment and periodic narrative spikes. It wouldn't require mania, just a broad and sustained market uptrend. In a stronger bull cycle, where liquidity expands rapidly, traders rotate capital aggressively into higher beta assets, and SHIB captures renewed social attention, prices could go even higher. In this environment, levels like $0.00002 to $0.00003 could come into play. This wouldn't be moon talk, it's a logical extension if SHIB benefits from both market-wide momentum and occasional narrative surges that draw retail inflows. Now, let's touch on an extreme scenario, not because it's guaranteed, but because it's important to consider both sides. In a full-fledged speculative frenzy, think peak cryptomania where retail is pouring in from all directions and meme coins dominate headlines, SHIB could touch psychological levels well above the moderate and strong scenarios. However, this is not the base case, because such frenzies are historically rare and often short-lived. It's equally important to acknowledge risk. SHIB has a very large token supply, and price appreciation on high circulating supply requires enormous liquidity, much more than smaller supply coins. If broader markets fail to trend upward or if macro risk aversion grows stronger, SHIB could remain range-bound or even revisit lower support levels. Looking at sentiment indicators, social volume and search trends often provide early signals before price moves. SHIB currently holds significant awareness among crypto communities, but it hasn't reached historical hype levels yet. This suggests we could see more gains if social engagement intensifies alongside price confirmation. By 2026, the critical factor that could separate Shib's performance from just noise is market participation. When more investors, both retail and institutional, gain comfort with crypto as an asset class, speculative assets like SHIB can attract fresh capital earlier in a cycle. If mainstream adoption accelerates between now and then, SHIB could be trading meaningfully higher than today's $0.000005 level. To summarize the projection without hype. In a moderate bull environment, $0.000001, $0.000015 is a realistic 2026 range. In a strong bull cycle with heightened market rotation and social momentum, $0.00002 to $0.00003 becomes possible. In full speculative mania, driven by explosive liquidity and widespread retail inflows, higher psychological levels are possible, but they are not the baseline expectation.